Meanwhile, Fox News alert, President.
Well, we've got a Fox News alert. There it is, the Taj Mahal. We understand the president has arrived there. That is his next stop after that massive rally you saw this morning, highlighting the U.S. relationship with India as crucial trade talks take center stage. We imagine that the first family is going to come out, and we're going to take some pictures. In the meantime, let's talk more about trade. Listen to this soundbite.
Americans are eager to strengthen these beautiful ties between our two people. This is truly an exciting time in the United States. Our economy is booming like never before. That is why I have come here to India in the spirit of fondness and goodwill to expand our cherished partnership of incredible power and potential.
Here with more on what this trip means for the U.S. economy, we've got President Trump's former Labor Secretary nominee, Andy Puzder. Andy, good morning to you.
Good to see you, Steve.
How historic is this welcome in India?
You know, when I first heard about the trip, I didn't think it was that big a deal. But with this incredible reception that he got over there, we always hear from the Democrats about how the president isn't respected around the world. The United States isn't respected. Here we get this incredible reaction from the largest democracy in the world. I think it became a significant event when all those people turned out.
Sure. One estimate was there had been 125,000 people in that cricket stadium. One of our correspondents said it was like 10 Make America Great Again rallies, all held at once.
Yeah, that's the most he's ever had for a rally, and it's the most that Prime Minister Modi'd ever had.
That's crazy.
That's an incredible number.
Yeah. The president is hoping for a new trade deal. He did announce that apparently they're going to buy $3 billion worth of super sophisticated military helicopters. But right now, the trade between the United States and India topped $142 billion in 2018. And the experts say there's still plenty of room to grow. I mean, look at all the people who live in India.
There's 1.4 billion people. What a market. And these are people who speak English. They're people who understand what America is, what America means. They are encouraged by what the president's saying. So I think a trade deal is a real possibility and could be great for American workers and for the Indian people.
Well, let's go from the rally that we're looking at there in India to the rallies we're seeing in this country as different people try to be the next president of the United States. Bernie Sanders, for the most part, the front runner right now on the Democratic side. Here's a snippet of Bernie versus Bloomberg, and that's going to lead to the next topic. Watch.
I believe in democratic socialism for working people, not billionaires.
What a wonderful country we have. The best-known socialist in the country happens to be a millionaire with 3 houses. What I miss here?
And you wrote an op-ed, I believe, for the Wall Street Journal on this very topic.
Well, I think Bloomberg's line was right out of that. What a wonderful country is right out of that op-ed. Now, this is, it's pretty incredible. We had Bernie on, and I don't want to discourage his candidacy. He's the one that I hope wins the nomination.
You're supporting him.
Yeah, so I got to be a little careful what I say. But he did go on that Fox News town hall, and they asked him about his book. And he said, well, I'm not going to apologize for writing a bestseller. If you want to be a millionaire, you can write a bestseller, too. And, what a great country. That's the exact right phrase. This guy's a capitalist when it comes to him personally, but he's a socialist when it comes to everybody else.
All right. Andy, we're looking at live images. As you can see, the First Lady and the President have emerged from backstage there at the Taj Mahal, of course, known as one of the 7 wonders of the world.
What a dignified woman. Our First Lady is such a classy person.
Yeah. The President said earlier that the two countries are in the early stages of an incredible deal when it comes to trade, and that Modi is a formidable opponent. So many people have been focusing on the China trade deal, Andy. A lot of people aren't thinking about India, but to your point, there are over 1 billion people who live there.
Yeah, there's more people in India than there are in China. Now, India's had an economic resurgence, not as big as the one in China, but they're still such a potential trade partner. This could be so good for the world, for GDP across the globe, let alone the United States and India. This president is always negotiating for America. He's always negotiating to try and make things better for the American people.
Do you think somebody's watching this on a TV in China thinking to themselves, if we ever did a deal, he's going to come over here and it's going to be a lot like this?
Well, it's, the Chinese and the Indians don't always get along that well. So I think that Our negotiating with China negotiating with India certainly strengthens our position in negotiating with China, and that's exactly what the Chinese people should be thinking.
That's right. We should point out that the Indian government headed by Mr. Modi has faced considerable international criticism, including from members of Congress, over its crackdown of Kashmir, which is India's only Muslim majority state, and the passage of a controversial religion-based citizenship bill that has led to protests all across India. As we look at the press corps taking some pictures of the president in the run-up to the trip, a senior White House official said Trump would raise the issue, Andy, of religious freedom with Mr. Modi in private. When he's got real business to get down to, he doesn't do it in front of the cameras.
No,
he does it off camera.
I mean, what if Modi came over to the United States and started criticizing different areas of policy in the United States? You would take it as an insult. He's not trying to insult Modi. He's trying to come up with an agreement with Modi. And if he wants to speak about something where we have a disagreement on Indian policy, he should do it in a meeting, a one-on-one meeting with the Prime Minister, not out in front of the public trying to embarrass people. And people who think that are just they've either never negotiated a deal or they just don't understand how to negotiate.
Well, that doesn't stop some people from talking on TV.
No, it sure doesn't.
All right. Andy Posner, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Good to be here.
You bet. As we look at the First Lady and the President signing the book there at, as you can see, the Taj Mahal. All right. Meanwhile, straight ahead, what kind of security challenges go on a trip like this? Keep in mind, he was just in an event with over 120,000 people at the world's largest cricket stadium.
Here we go, a Fox News alert. What a morning we've had already. A live look at the Taj Mahal. President Trump, First Lady Melania are visiting the landmark during the first day of their trip to India, one of the wonders of the world.
One of the seven wonders of the world, indeed. And there, we saw a moment ago, the President and the First Lady signed the guest book there at the Taj Mahal, which, if you're curious, it was commissioned back in 1632 by the Emperor to house the tomb of his wife, who is buried there, and so is he. It's all part of a 42-acre complex, including a mosque, a guest house, and formal gardens, which we can see right there, which are bounded on three sides by walls.
Absolutely beautiful. Look how stunning she is in her gorgeous outfit. So after this, they will go to Agra Air Base, and they will have wheels up heading to New Delhi, where they're going to spend the night. Tomorrow, there'll be some ceremonial events, bilateral meetings and business meetings, and then a state dinner, and then they head home.
And sooner or later, the president's going to be in South Carolina telling everybody there's a Republican in the White House while the Democrats get ready for their primary. Meanwhile, while we keep this video up and maybe share the screen, let's bring in Dan Bongino, Fox News contributor, former Secret Service agent. Dan, we're just seeing 125,000 people in an open stadium. How do you protect that? We noticed there was protective, it looks bulletproof glass, but what else goes into that?
Well, Brian, one of the most difficult components of the protection plan at a stadium like that is obviously going to be the magnetometers. Nobody gets anywhere near the president, even in an event like that, without walking through a metal detector, a magnetometer first. Now, having said that, think about this logistics-wise, right? There's always a logistics agent, Secret Service agent, who alone does that job on a foreign trip. That doesn't happen on domestic trips, where the lead advance takes care of it. That logistics agent on this foreign trip had to figure out a way to mag 100,000 people. Now, we use our metal detectors, so we have to take them over there on the trip, so that's an enormous undertaking in and of itself, but there's a certain flow rate. There's only a couple of hundred people per hour each team can do, so can you imagine the personnel and the magnetometers alone that went into that just one site? Remember, he's going to New Delhi, too, so this is just one site. Must have been a couple of military car planes itself just to get all those people, what we would call cleaned, meaning, free of any kind of metal on that site.
Right, and apparently thousands lined the motorcade route as he arrived there earlier today. And as to Brian's point, they had like an enclosure, a bulletproof enclosure that the Prime Minister and the President were behind. But now they're at the Taj Mahal, which, as I mentioned a moment ago, Dan, is a 42-acre compound. It's hard to, it's hard enough securing a stadium, but 42 acres with all that stuff going on. How do you do that?
Yeah, with a bunch of places to hide so you can get in and out as well. There's a couple advantages here. On this, I should have said this first. The biggest thing on these foreign trips is what I used to call the Big Six. I got this from a guy named Nate, who was a great agent. It's mitigating the tactical threats, medical emergencies, chem bio assaults, IEDs, airborne assaults, and any kind of a fire or anything like that. So once you take care of those Big Six threats, you're pretty good with the rest. But doing that in a place like the Taj Mahal in India, there's a lot of downsides we just addressed. The only upsides are this. We've been to India quite a bit. Matter of fact, when I did a foreign advance in, where was I? Czech Republic or somewhere. Prague. India was the next stop. So when you go there a lot with the Secret Service, the Indian Secret Services are very familiar with how we work, which, Steve, I can't describe enough. That's a huge advantage because when we come into town, the Secret Service overseas, I'm telling you, it's like a freight train coming in. Nobody knows what to expect, and there's a day or two of shell shock before everybody figures out that you better get on the train or you're going to get a lot. That's all out of the way. Secondly, the Taj Mahal we've been to, gosh, probably 100 times, if not more, even in the last few years. Remember, we don't only protect the president, we take other people there as well. So there's probably a basic security footprint where all the ins and outs are already mapped out. So that's kind of an upside. But you're not wrong. It is, regardless of all that, extremely difficult to secure.
And this president, more than any other, I think, can look at something like this from the architectural standpoint and really appreciate it, maybe more than we can understand. This is really what he does, what he tries to, what he does for a living prior to this.
Exactly.
So he'll go in there and appreciate it.
Right. And Dan, this is the image that he wants people to see. It's him in front of the wonders of the world with the First Lady after a triumphant stadium appearance and then, a dinner tonight.
Dan, we're seeing this video here, but also in Houston a few months ago, he was there with the Prime Minister of India as well and had a huge crowd. How does this help him when it comes to the Indian American support?